Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. It will be streamed. I'm your host, Dr. RickyAllmon, along with my fellow host, Reverend StephenThurston. We don't do co-host around here. We in this thing together. So if you send any hate mail, it's equal opportunity. If you send it to me, please send it to him too, because he's probably the instigator behind anything that I would say that would evoke you sending hate. We're so honored today, Stephen, to have two very special guests with us who literally responded like 30 minutes ago, if that long. I just texted them.
As leaders do.
We had to pivot, and I knew both of them are thought leaders and culture leaders, so I knew they knew how to pivot. One either had on his Jordans or his Kobe's, so I knew he'd know what to do. And the other is my biological sister. So I want to welcome them. Miss Rachel Allmon is here with us. If you want to find out more about her, what is your handle, Rachel, for IG or Facebook if they want to follow you? I'm going to just say this out the back because they're going to go looking. Who is this they have on the show today? So let them go ahead and be nosy up front because you got some stuff to share. So give it to
Sure. I'm glad to be here. Welcome, everybody. C2M Management Consultants is the name of my consulting group, and you can find us at www.c2m.llc. And they're linked to all of our social media handles: Facebook, C2M Consultants; YouTube, C2M Consultants; and on Instagram, Manage C2M, MANAGE C2M. So
and during the show, I'll be adding their Instagram handles. You'll see them under their name, so you'll be able to connect. And then we have Mr. Gary Foster, who is a creative digital genius, graphics creator extraordinaire. If you've seen my logo, he's the mastermind, the brainchild. I feel like I need some kind of music right here, sci-fi or something. But Gary, it's so good to have you, man. Tell them how they can get in touch with you and connect with you.
I'm so glad to be here. Honored to be here. Thank you for having me. You can find me on Instagram at GAFJUN. Pronounce it gafjun. It's my initials, Gary A. Foster Jr. That's the best way to find me on Instagram. You can also find my graphic design company, Majestic Ink Designs, on Instagram as well. So that's the best way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then, Stephen, man, you've been running today. You had a memorial service this morning?
Yeah, just left doing a memorial service. One of our members' moms made her transition, so they asked me to speak there.
Oh, wow.
Jumped on here, then got another meeting in 30 minutes. So busy day, but this is important. So want to make sure that I made time for us to share as we do every Saturday. And
So I
people,
heard
y'all,
that I heard there was a new Superman movie coming out. If y'all want to know who was the male lead in it, it's StephenThurston. So he's out. Go ahead, Stephen. What were you about to say?
no, I was just challenging people on Facebook to go ahead and share now. If
Yeah.
they're continuing to be equipped week after week, they need to share so somebody else in their circle of influence can be equipped and empowered today as well.
Yeah, so this is the revolution will not be televised. It will be streamed. It's a conversation about life and leadership in the digital age. Who is this conversation for? We're so glad you asked. It's for pastors, entrepreneurs, consultants, digital content creators, social media influencers, corporate executives, educators, and as Stephen and I like to say, Lottie Dottie and everybody. This is your conversation if you want to maximize your potential, mobilize your purpose, and multiply your possibilities. So let me get to the reason we're here today. As a matter of fact, you want to go ahead now, if you're on Facebook, and share this on your timeline and start a watch party. We really didn't come to just play and tell jokes today. We've got something on our mind that we want to drop off in your life so you can navigate this social terrorism. No other way to put it. I said it. It's out there. This social terrorism that we're dealing with in our country today. So go ahead and share this quickly. You've got about 30 hot seconds. Share this on your page so that other people that you influence can hear something from somebody that you find value in. Also, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and like this now. Subscribe to this channel. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and share it on your timeline. If you're on Periscope, we just glad you're hanging out. Thank you for being here. Our subject today, as I said earlier, is breathing while Black in America. I don't believe there's anybody in America this week that has not been riveted by the scenes that we've seen in Minneapolis and around the country of Black folk being enraged, rightfully so, because of the travesty, the tragedy, and the injustice that happened to Mr. George Floyd, who had a knee on his neck. There is so much that we can say about that. It's interesting when we talk about breathing because Black America has really been fighting to catch its breath over the past
400 years.
well, let's be honest, right? The past 400 years. And it seems like it's a crime to breathe while Black. Like, you're not supposed to be Black and breathing. If you Black, you need to hold your breath. And so we're going to talk about it. Us four are going to breathe today. And we want to help you breathe. And so I got a lot of thoughts, but I didn't come on here to just share mine. I brought some other people on who I want to hear what they have to say. Rachel, I'm going to start with you. You are a professional Black female. You've got 7 biological brothers, of which I'm fortunate to be one of them. A Black father who we loved and who set a standard of just what masculinity looked like, of what a father, a husband, a man, a leader looked like. You've got friends. And of course, even though all of our lives cross the generational divide in multiple ways. We can't ignore the obvious. We are Black. We are African Americans. Let's talk about what your tension has been in trying to breathe, whether it's breathing, because when we talk about breathing, it applies in every context, right? Breathing out your creativity, uh, breathing out your intellect, just breathing out your personhood. What does that look like? You're in Dallas. You're in the heart of the Southwest, with all the nuances that comes with. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay, sure. In my 20 years as a professional, I mean, it's kind of the story of my life. 15 years in human resources and education. I was just sharing with someone prior to the George Floyd murder, how that in every team that I've worked with, I've usually been the only African American and the only African American female.
Right.
So and you talk about, the foot being on the neck. Of course, Ricky knows my personality, so it's never been a problem for me to speak up, right, and speak out. And so I'll share three things that have they're still resonating now. It makes me feel proud that I've always had a handle on that foot a little bit, and so hopefully this can help individuals that are trying to navigate, their professions, or perhaps if they're in environments where this particular incident with Mr. George Floyd is really impacting their life. Um, I think we need to be reminded of three things. This is just not for female professionals, but African American professionals and non-African American professionals, right? That's half the battle, is this whole awareness thing. So they need to do three things. One is to inform, two is to remember to influence, and three to make impact. And I'll just walk through these, and then I'll be done, and
No,
I'll
please
chime in
walk through.
wherever you need me to.
Yeah.
So one, to inform, right? What that looks like and what that's looked like for me is to admonish others to acknowledge injustice and inequities that they see. So oftentimes we kind of look over it, and by the informing, that can happen in an instance. So I'll give you an example. I was at a work event at one of my jobs. I won't say which one. So I was at a work event for an institution that I was working for, and a colleague walked up to me, someone that we usually have good chemistry, and I have a pin on my shirt that says "Girls support girls," right? So I'm real pro black. I'm pro people first. I'm pro love. I love everybody, but I'm pro black and I'm pro feminism. Okay, I'm a woman, and so it said "Girls support girls," and it's because I had just left the event for a friend girl of mine, where she got a promotion. And so I had that same pin on. So when I walked up to this friend who is not black, he is a Caucasian male. The first thing he said, he like, "Hey girl." All right, we're talking about inform. And so for our younger African American uh, uh, streamers that are here with us, you may not, you're like, "Oh, that's okay, Rachel." I said, "Hey girl, it's not okay." If you know the historical context behind that
Right.
term girl, you know that it's demeaning, especially to a black female. And so it's something that is racist and is demeaning. And if we are peers, neither of us are children, we're adults, and you refer to me as girl, the
Right.
connotation that can be taken negatively. So in that moment, I chose to inform. Okay. And so when I
Great
told him, I
example.
said, yeah, and I said, "Did you just call me girl?" And his wife kind of kicked him. She kind of kicked him like, "Oh my goodness, she about to get you." I don't even know his wife. She's not even an employee. So she kind of kicked him. And
Right.
he's like, "What? What did I miss?" And so he thought he would be slick. He said, "Well, her pen says girls." I said, "No, no, no." I said, "Don't insult me. We're gonna have a problem." I said, "You're using this pen as an escape." I say, "But I haven't been a girl for a long time, probably in over almost 30 years." I say, "So, and you don't know me like that." I say, "So refer to me as Rachel, Miss Allmon, or you don't have to say anything at all." He said, "Well, I don't get it." I said, "Well, go do your research. You'll get it." And I walked off because his wife knew. So I'm sure on the way home, they had that conversation. That's informing. Do it however it falls in your lap. Don't walk away from it. Don't be afraid of it. Right. And we're talking about how to combat this racist spirit that is attacking us, that is being perpetuated from the White House, down to the cemetery. Okay,
Right.
inform to influence. All right, be the example that you want to see. I kind of just led into that. But by that I mean take precautionary measures. I teach my nephew, who is up and coming pro basketball player. I teach him when you're riding. I given him a Volvo, a nice SUV, luxury SUV, and I said, look, I'm giving you these keys, but I'm giving you something else. Put that license, put that insurance right here in that visor. I say, when they stop
That's
you,
good.
sir,
Yeah.
ma'am, I'm gonna pull down his visor to get my license. I said, keep it right there. Don't give them a reason. They're already gonna profile. It's gonna happen. It's the world that we live in. And so I taught him that. I teach him that. I teach other young people that I mentor that. Me personally, let me share another story. I had no idea Ricky would call on me today. Another story.
That's how
Here
God
in
works.
here in DFW, in a very affluent suburb where I live. Thank you, Lord. I thank the Lord for all of my blessings that are flowing my way. So a very affluent suburb that I live in. Black female. The race, I would say, it's pretty diverse and mixed. I'm riding. I like to ride around. That's how I relax. So I'm riding around this neighborhood. Now I go to an area that's kind of secluded. I'm in my Camaro with tinted windows, right? So it's already. So I go across the highway and I get ready to come back. And we're talking about influence, and we're talking about you have to do something. You can't just put it on the officers. You can't just put it on people that are racist and biased. You have to do something too. So I'm coming back down. I know that I'm on a deserted road. It's in the middle of the day. I shouldn't have anything to worry about, but it's about noon. And I see this officer sitting in a field. I see a white, or he could have been Hispanic officer sitting in the field. I'm in a Camaro. You can't. I have on a cap, so they don't know if I'm a female or male. So in my spirit, I said, now I can do one or two things. I can keep driving, and I know he's gonna pull out that feeling. He's gonna come behind me. So I started to look. I said, okay, there's a house down the road, but it's too deserted. If something goes wrong, I can keep my phone on. So I just started thinking on my feet. I shouldn't have to do that, but that's the world we live in, right? And so what I did is I said, I'm gonna pull out, and I saw some other cars coming. It's about I say, look, by the time I get past that fifth car, I'm back in where I'm comfortable at.
Right.
And so I started doing it. He got behind me, just like I knew he would. So what I did is I rolled down my window. I put my little arm out to where he probably said, "Oh, that's a female. It's a black female." And I just kept, I put a little speed on it because I had not broken any law. This person was just profiling. It's just the world that we live in.
Right.
And he finally he kind of looked at my face, and I kind of looked at him. He could see my eyes, and he just stopped and turned around. I'm like, dude, but I see now why black males more or less than black females, but we all get profiled. Because until he could physically see, oh, it's a female, he was ready just to pick. I was not breaking any law, anything.
Wow.
I just see a black person
Right.
in a nice car in a suburban area. They can't possibly belong here,
What's
right?
called what is known as racial profiling.
Racial profiling.
Exactly.
So, but I have the ability to change that situation, right? In that sense, so we have to kind of be proactive. That's about influence, okay?
Right.
Third one is impact. And so part of impact is being on this platform. When Ricky sent me that text, I was in the middle of a women's group Bible study. And when he first sent the question, I won't lie to you, I was a little hesitant. I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about this today, right? But just in that moment, I said, okay, how are you gonna do those three eyes, Rachel? You can't. He's giving you the platform. I'm
Right.
like, I gave Ricky every excuse. I think my hair not done and feeling my throat hurt.
I
He
don't
was
know
like,
why
put
you
on the
tried
hat.
that with me.
I'm like, my throat hurt. Go drink some coffee. I'm like, oh. And so I
I
gave
don't
him
want I don't
every
want to
excuse.
reveal your age, but how long have you known me? Never mind. Don't answer that question.
Yeah, over 40 years.
You know you
And
don't get
so
no doesn't work with me. So
right. And so the third one is what? Impact. And so how do we do that? Being on platforms like this, not being afraid to speak up. What I call the greatest way to make the impact is being in a posture of positivity, right? And trying to shine a light on what is going on through one or two ways. Just informing, just educating people, whether they look like you or not, teaching our youth, letting them know their history. Sign your children up for African American Studies class, and that's you know what I'm saying. That's not the whole
so
truth,
Rachel, what
but
what
it kind
you're
of
saying is what you're saying when it comes to informing is to ignore is to be irresponsible.
oh, definitely.
If we decide
Across the
we're just going to
board.
ignore it, but well, that's not affecting me directly. No,
Yeah. Even
injustice anywhere
indirectly.
is injustice everywhere. You
That's
can't
right.
ignore it. And so I need you all to get this that's watching today. It affects you. If
Yes.
you're of the darker hue, I don't care where you live in the country, I don't care what your address is, I don't care what your tax bracket is, it affects you. And so I need you to hear what Rachel is saying. You have the social responsibility. Martin Luther King
Yes.
Jr. talks about the law of interdependence. And that means we are all interwoven in this fabric of humanity, and we're responsible for each other. We're our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, our daddy's keeper, our mama's keeper, uh, everybody's keeper. We have that social responsibility. So if you're not informing somebody, you're being irresponsible with your life and with their life. So give those to us in a quick recap, Rachel. Number one, we've got to inform. What's number two?
Influence.
Influence. In other
Okay, that's
words,
about. Hmm. Go ahead.
use who you are, where you are, to make a difference
Yes.
in the environment you're in.
And then and then impact, right? So that goes beyond you, because with the informing and influence, we can do that kind of one-on-one. That
Right,
impact is scalable. So stop talking to your cousin Nene and Pookie, and get on those larger platforms, because people need you. It happens on your job. You're going to get it at school if you're
right,
students. You're going to be involved in things that where you can get on that platform and make a difference and speak up, and we shy away from it.
right.
And so that's the only way that you can make an impact. Otherwise, you're informing and you're putting forth some influence, but the impact segment is what I think can change, change this issue that we're dealing with.
And just what she shared, that just happened within 15 minutes of me asking her to come on after she gave me 100 excuses why she couldn't. That's why she's here. Gary, talk to me, man. You are the poster child. You're the bullseye of this structured racism we're dealing with. Your demographic, you're the profile. You're young, you're black, you're talented, you're visible, you're vocal. How are you able to keep breathing? What are you having to do? What are the breathing apparatus that you're having to use in order to walk this tightrope that we're on, called American culture? He
I
takes a deep breath.
it's so much to even unpack that.
I understand.
I think really, when I look back to just my formative years with my parents, I was blessed to have my first car when I was 16. And again, like Rachel, had no idea that we were going to have this conversation today or what I was going to share. However, I knew the importance, my parents impressed the importance of making sure that I understand. Uh, when you're young, when you're really young, you're taught that the police are your friends, that they're a place that you can go for help. However, as I got a little older, that narrative started to change a bit, and made sure that I understood that I was different from those that I may have gone to school with, who may not be of the African American descent. They may be Anglo Saxons, what have you. But I need to understand that there's a difference. And they were very clear about that, making sure I didn't have a lot of people in my car, because then you're an automatic target, and making sure that I wore nice clothes. So all of these things are things that you have in your mind. I don't think people who are not black don't understand the level of anxiety that takes place when you see the blue lights in the background, and
Uh,
it might not even be for you,
right.
right? Right? So you don't even know they're 100 yards back. You see them blue lights, your heart already begins to do this,
Palpitate.
and
Yeah.
you're already at 10 and 2.
Right.
At this point, because nobody drives at 10 and 2, but we are now, because we need you to see my hands. And So, and then when you see them go past you, the relief that you feel,
Wow.
that's not something that's verbally expressed. But it's what we all go through, because we don't know if this stop is the last stop. Because this stop, it doesn't matter what your academic credentials are, what your job title is, how much money is in your bank account. None of that matters, because the hue of your skin is the same. It's black. I was talking to one of my mentees yesterday about this. I've been in a lot of conversations about this personally. And the best way that I can explain this, because we've seen certain individuals who have done massacres who are Caucasian, but they've been escorted out in bulletproof vests and made sure that they had water while they got them to the police station.
Right.
When you have an individual who, like George Floyd, who was allegedly writing a fraudulent check and now has murdered in the street, not police brutality, murdered in the street. The best way I explained this was, there's two types of creatures, right? So you have, when you see a butterfly, the first thing that you want to do is you want to cocoon it, look at it, marvel at it, look at it flutter. You want to protect it. You don't want to harm it. You want to look at it and release it back to be. But there's another insect, another creature called a spider. And when you see a spider, you don't hesitate, you don't pause, you don't think, you don't pontificate, hey, what are your intentions in my house? Are you here to make my house a better place? No, you immediately, that's what
Right.
you do. So in this culture, to the police, to the world, Caucasians are butterflies and black people are spiders.
Wow.
There's no,
That's
that's what's
true.
happening. So um,
Wait,
when you
no,
understand,
hold on, sir. You're.
when you
I need you to say that one more time in the context, because let me tell you, I was having this conversation with my wife this morning, and I said, listen, I'm tired of getting on elevators where I'm the only one that looks like me, and I speak first to make sure they know I'm non-threatening because I'm a black man, or living in any space or environment. Here, I'm just setting this up to so you can repeat that statement you made, or living in an environment where you have to be the one to make sure they're good with you. If you put on a suit on a Monday, you got to be going to church. On a Monday, middle of the day, you go. It's Monday. What? Why is it I have to be going to church? You know, why I can't be doing anything else? Why can't I just have on a suit, because I can afford to have on a suit on a Monday?
Exactly.
You know, and so but I, again, to your point, I can't be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I, I,
Wow.
I don't have the right to express. So make that statement one more time about the butterfly and the spider.
And then I'm logging off and going home because it's, I mean, it was
All right.
Gary just shut down the whole.
Exactly.
so you gotta understand that there's two types of creatures when it comes to how we are viewed. There's a butterfly. The butterfly is to be cherished and is to be marveled.
Mhm.
And then there's a spider, and the spider is to be annihilated instantly without hesitation. Caucasians are butterflies, black people are spiders. That is where we are. And when you understand that you're viewed as a spider, you have to take some different type of precautions. You can't, like Rachel says, she's telling her nephew to put your driver's license, which should go in your wallet.
Right.
It now has to go in your visor, so that when you pull me over, you know that this spider, please hold. I'm just trying to let you know that I'm getting my license and registration. It's up here, because obviously there's
And
no lethal force up here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to think that I'm reaching for something. And now my life has been encapsulated by a hashtag, because that's what I was writing last
Ah,
night, which
ah.
is no more hashtags. Okay, not another hashtag, because this is what you're beginning to see. Black people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're beyond tired, we're exhausted.
Would you say
And
that
so
these hashtags, you have more people hiding behind a hashtag than really standing up for the issues at hand? I mean, like, so those of other colors and culture, they quickly jump on a hashtag bandwagon,
Sure.
but they're not going to come out to protest, nor are they going to take the social responsibility of taking the right posture of equity and equality when it matters. Would you say that?
Ricky, nor will they tell their uncles, their fathers, their brothers, or their fellow church parishioners to stop killing us. Because it's your cousin, it's your white brother, it's your white daddy, it's your white uncle that keeps coming after us.
That's true. And Gary, you were saying about that.
yeah, I think that what's happening is those of other hues do hide behind the hashtags, because it's like, at least I've posted. I've
Right.
given the appearance that I care. But on the flip side of that, I feel like we have become numb as Black people. So it's almost like, I guess, stages of grief. You know,
Yeah.
we've gone through this numb phase for a while, so it's kind of been stagnant. Nothing has really taken place. But the rage part now has been released,
Right.
because I posted on my Instagram story the other day, "Dear America, you created Killmonger." I don't know if you all are familiar with Black Panther. Of course you
Mm-hmm.
are. But
Of course they are.
Killmonger was an individual who was from Wakanda, of Wakanda, but exiled from, not given the proper ability to have access. And he's coming back for what's his. We built America. You brought us over here in 1619, all right, against our will. And over that period of time, built America. And Black people are at a point where we're tired of being treated less than. We just want to be human. I saw a meme the other day, and this is the last thing I said. I saw a meme the other day
Fine.
that there was a police officer looking at a counter, looking down at a Black boy, and said, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And the little Black boy looked up. That's what we want. That should be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody just posted, "We tired." And you know something else that I think is very critical with this is that we don't want to be decolorized,
Right.
because I
I'm
feel
sorry
like
for not Black.
that's inhumane.
Yeah.
Don't extract my color from me in order to accept me. One of the statements I have a problem with, and those that are watching this that are of other hues, or uh, you have a diminished amount of melanin, I need you to understand this. It is not, when you say, "Well, I don't see color," that is not an affirming
It's a racist
statement
statement.
for those that are Black
Yeah.
and brown. That
Yeah.
statement has inherent racism in it. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
you're racist, and you may not know what you're saying. But for you to say, "I don't see color," is to
Yeah.
say that you're not embracing me wholly for who I
Yeah.
am. That the only way you can
Ricky,
accept me, yes. Go
can I
ahead,
speak
Rach.
to something? What you're saying that?
Of
So I
course.
do equity and inclusion training. I have done that for about 10 years, and they have phases, right? When you're trying to reinforce and implement these E&I programs, and a part of it is awareness, right? And so you can accept something, and well, you can be aware of something without accepting it, right?
Right,
So that awareness is saying, well, I don't see color. How are you ever going to get to that acceptance stage? Because all of them are necessary, right?
right.
And so I think I know I've witnessed it for the past 20 years in all of my workforces where they aware is okay, we gotta hire so we can have this ratio, we can have all of this stuff. It's just awareness, but I don't have to accept it. Acceptance is I see you, right? And not only that, the next step of that process is learning to
Right.
value my difference, right? See the value in it. I like the fact that you might be a little more tenacious than me, or you might, be a little more resolute than me because it's a part of your natural fabric and DNA. So, what can I value about you?
Right.
Right? It's basic. It's the basic process of any relationship building. Why is that lost when it comes to, like Gary said, black and white? It shouldn't be lost. I'm human just like you, and people that are around here proclaiming that I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not biased. You just at the awareness phase. And even there,
Yeah.
there's no acceptance, there's no value, right? So you pretty much are, you like you said, Ricky, subconsciously and without them being fully aware of it, they're perpetuating racism.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're doing it and you don't even know, and that's across the board. Like you said, even with blacks teaching their children to lose their blackness. Don't act black. I can't do nothing but that. That's who I am.
Right.
So don't even teach your children that. And so I don't know that it's just about that
Oh,
time.
you do
No,
know.
Rachel, like you said, I think that one of the things that I've seen recently is the new racism is racism doesn't exist.
Hmm.
That
It is.
that's where we are. It's like,
Hmm.
well, what racism? Slavery was, oh, that was 400 years ago. That's not even, a thing. Brown versus the Board of Education was 1954. What are you no, the Civil Rights Act was 1964. It's only been 66 years since we've actually been legally free.
Yeah.
Facts, big
Or
facts.
like you said, Gary, trying to change the face of it. So I've seen that happen in two ways. One is if you think about, we were talking about culture. So you think about a lot of things that we share in our country and across and around the world. It has some bases in Africa, Europe, India. It has some other
Yeah.
bases. When you think about maybe even that uh the Caucasian race, what is it that is unique to them besides borrowing from people is and taking,
They rob
someone else's.
and they
Borrowing
cheat.
was such a nice
That's
word.
all.
Yeah,
Rob
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. And,
They have
and, and so
a history that's valid, that's worthy of celebrating.
thank you.
Everything they've gotten, they've stolen.
Thank you. So that's what they're trying to do, Gary. I see that happening again. Like they had the little YouTube spill that went on, and a lady said, "You're discriminating against me, really? Because you don't want to wear a mask? That's not discrimination. Don't minimize the
Right.
impact and the severity of what we go through as people of color. Do not do that." And so that's what I see happening. You talking about a mask and discrimination? No, we're just all out here trying to live. That's not discrimination. I can
Just
give
trying
you
to
a
live.
cup of tea of discrimination, and then you wouldn't be able to handle it. And so doing things like that, and also with our culture, just say, I know this. We got all kind of listeners and streamers here, but just say
That's
the
fine.
dance twerking, right? The twerking was an African American colloquialism or dance or ritual that came root. It's not even New Orleans, but New Orleans kind of put it on the map, right? But if you go back to that, and then I'm just using it as an example. Now
It's a good
everybody want to twerk. They had the Super Bowl commercial. These folks, I'm like, you're not even twerking. So
cultural appropriation.
get your
Yeah.
own stuff.
Right.
So
Colonize it.
that's a way that they can do it subtly, is by taking out things, taking hip hop. It's not hip hop anymore. What is it then? Right? So they do it in a few ways. So you have to be aware of that too, and take pride in who you are. Like Ricky said, don't take away my blackness. I'm proud of it, and learn to appreciate it or value it, or move along. But we cannot get around that. And when that value piece comes along, they'll realize that everybody that God created is a butterfly, right? But because we've been devalued, we are those spiders. That was beautiful, Gary.
Gary, that's
And
a
so
t-shirt. That's a whole lot of stuff. That's a
I have
movement.
never heard that.
We we st-
That's
we
it. I
starting a
love it.
we starting a butterfly versus spider movement around this piece. So Stephen, we got to put this in
Yes.
an ecclesiological context, right? We've got to bring it to the platform that has the God-given responsibility for speaking truth to power. Tomorrow is Sunday. And I don't care if you call yourself evangelical, Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, United Pentecostal Church, Church of Christ, whatever you call yourself, Jehovah's Witness. We've got to speak to this. What should the pulpit be saying? What should they be saying right now? Forget that, because I mean, this digital space is a platform, right? So I mean, let's just deal with the obvious. That's why we created this platform. But what should the pulpit be saying at the sacred hour? What has been called the most segregated hour of the day, 11 a.m. on Sunday, and any times in between, before or after. What should be coming from America's pulpits on tomorrow? What should the priority of the preacher be, regardless of their racial background? What should they be saying tomorrow?
Sure. I think those 3 points that your sister clearly stated, Rachel encapsulated it well. Those 3 points have to be, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, a product of what comes out of their mouth. And I'll say this as well, for those preachers who say, well, God called me to preach, not to protest. It's my prayer that your audience protests you as you preach tomorrow. Because if you're not speaking truth to power, if you're silencing yourself,
Right.
then you're part of the problem rather than the solution. We should also not and stop telling people how to process their pain. Don't tell me to stop swinging when I didn't start the fight and you keep swinging at me and I'm just supposed to stand there and let you. We also have to have a very eradicate our Eurocentric lens and exegetical focus on the text. And stop painting Jesus like this lily white, passive, soft character. Jesus fought. Jesus
He was a militant. He was a militant.
Yeah, Jesus clapped back. He did all of that stuff. Jesus flipped tables. So let's turn some tables tomorrow and let's adopt the spirit of Jeremiah Wright, goddamn America.
Let me disclaimer. The comments that you hear on this show are the responsibility of the person out of whose mouth they come. but here it is. Jesus would be considered, somebody said, take a stand. You're exactly right. Jesus would be considered a social insurgent when it came to standing up for the least, the last, and the left out. And that's what we've got. We have that responsibility. It is, I'm going to say this, it is sinful to be silent.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
People love talking about Esther, and there's been plays written and books written, and One Night with the King, and wonderful. But here is why Esther is immortalized. It's because of Mordecai, her relative, who informed her that you are not where you are just for you. You are where you are because of somebody else, and you have a responsibility. And listen, Stephen's talking about this Eurocentric lens that we look at scripture through. It's critical to understand that love does not mean I'm passive.
Yes.
We need to understand that. Love does not equate to passivity. On the other hand, get this, love is accountability. Love demands that I do something. Our screens just switched up here, so let me switch right quick. There we are. And he should be back in a moment. But yeah, love is not passive. Love demands accountability. And I think that's what we are right now. People can call it tough love or whatever they want to call it, but love demands accountability. You've got to stand up. You've got to speak out. What Rachel has shared, what Gary has shared, what Stephen has shared speaks to what has to be done. Do you all have any closing thoughts today that you want to share as it relates to
I do have.
Yeah, where we are and how we move forward? Because both of you are right. I mean, you all are at the center of this. You're at the point of impact when it comes to what our cultural norms are and what they need to become. And so talk to me, Rachel.
Yeah, one thing I've been watching, like the riots, here locally in DFW region, uh, and elsewhere. So one thing I would like to admonish our peers, Gary and our peers to do is to protest, peaceably. I agree with Stephen. You can't tell me how to manage my pain, how they can be expressed. So I understand if it gets a little more physical, but at the same time, at best, is a part of the impact, right? Remember, I said a posture of positivity.
Right.
Keep that in front of you.
That's
So do it. Speak up. Go out there. Stand up. I saw a very positive demonstration that was done here Friday in DFW in front of the police department. They had the speaker out there, the advocate. And he arranged it. Everybody listened. He had one mic. And they had their signs. So you can do it. Show up, make an impact, but keep that posture of positivity in front of you. Um, it, a big part of it is our dad always taught us. Rick might remember this. If people show you who they are, believe them.
right.
So all I'm saying is talk about that paradox that Gary uh, posited, the spider and the butterfly. Well, if you're around here acting like a spider, poisoning people and biting people and destroying stuff, then that's what people are going to believe about you, right?
Right.
But if you're flourishing, uh, you're beautiful, you're bringing forth positivity, and people believe that about you. So let's remember that it's our responsibility to maintain, to show the best part of us, who we are. All blacks, and majority of blacks are not even criminals. If we want to talk about that, right? But that's how society has painted that picture.
Right.
And so again, know your responsibility in having that posture of positive positivity, and putting that forth as you demonstrate, as you inform, as you influence. Okay, as you do those three things, the only way you're gonna really make impact is through positive means, and that's it.
Gary, speak to it before we get off.
I think that one of the um, when I think about this, before I get into a point, when I think about this, I look at how I saw Atlanta yesterday, my second home. I
Right.
saw Atlanta do a very peaceful protest in the beginning,
Okay.
you know, and it appeared to have a lot of people there. It was a great turnout, and then it kind of flipped and became a bit more destructive. Um, Again, I can't tell you how to feel. Uh, that's not what we're here to do. But I think oftentimes when we resort to those riot-like behaviors, we oftentimes burn down our own neighborhood,
Right.
which in full circle ends up being more traumatic to us than anything.
Right.
Uh, so I think um, along with your protesting actions, what we should do, we need to make sure that we actually make change in the offices and positions where people make decisions and have power.
Right.
For the president of the United States to make a tweet that says, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Wow.
That, from the highest office of the land, we know from spirituality, the blessings come from the head down.
Right.
So do curses. So everything is flowing from this head. And we have to do our job to make sure that we don't go through another 4 years
Right.
of that. Because if he's taking these postures and these stances with the ability to lose, I don't want to see him and what he looks like when there's nothing to lose.
Right.
So we need to make sure that we go to the polls, not just for presidential elections, but judges, congressmen. These are where the laws are being made
Yeah,
to
on the local
instruct these
level. And
things.
you know what? And I'm glad you said that, because that's
Me
where,
too.
yeah, that's where
That's what the
people
real
miss it. Like,
change happens.
yeah, they just think it's voting for the. No, that's not where. I mean, you dealing with bureaucracy. You want to really make
Yeah,
change. Get involved in your local politics and
yeah,
local policies. That's where the change takes place.
And talk to those
absolutely.
people, like Gary say, have a conversation with them. They They have to do that. That's how they campaign. So get it right in their face. Stop by their offices before you vote them into office or before you vote them out.
Right.
But he's right. It has to change, and the power of a vote is so powerful. Thank you, Gary. I mean, that's why we're having this collaborative conversation here, because I didn't even think about that. But you're right. The power of a vote, and as early as 18 years old, you can make a difference. So
Right.
get out there and make a difference. That's right.
I would want to empower young Black men with this last thought. Um, my alma mater, my institution, taught us that we should drink from 5 wells. We should be well balanced, well traveled, well spoken, well read, well dressed.
Hold on. You got to repeat those one more time, because this is a good segue into our close. Say those. You should drink from 5 wells. Give those wells again.
A Morales man drinks from 5 wells, but this is for all people. Okay.
Notice
Be
he
well
didn't have
balanced.
Poorhouse man in there. I'm just highlight that he said that. Okay.
Oh, Gary.
Be well balanced,
Mhm.
well traveled, well read, well spoken, and well dressed. Well dressed does not mean that you always have a suit and tie on. It can be that. But whatever you wear, make sure that it's neat.
Right.
Make sure that it's coordinated. Make sure that it looks like you were intentional about what you put on today. Because if you understand that you're viewed as a spider, Black man, then you got to make sure, you got to take some extra care, some extra steps to
Right.
make sure that you do everything you can to deflect from that narrative. You
Right.
do everything that you can to make sure that you present yourself in your best self. So doing things like Rachel has taught her nephew, put your license and registration in the visor when you get in the car, so you don't have to put yourself in a compromising situation. Make sure that you're well dressed. Make sure that you're well spoken and respectful when you're pulled over.
Right.
Okay, you don't want to be confrontational. Confrontational. You don't want to add fire, fuel to the fire. So what you want to make sure that you are is well spoken. Make sure that you're articulate with what you say. Make sure that you're respectful, even if they're not being respectful to you. Don't expect them to be respectful of you,
Right.
but always make sure that you give it back to them. I was pulled over when I was living in Atlanta. I had a suit on, and it was just a simple no turn on red, but the signs are a little different in Georgia, like than it is in Chicago. Chicago's a big old sign,
Mhm.
don't turn on red. In Georgia, it's a little sign by the light. I didn't see it. I was new, pulled over, and I was treated pretty badly. I wasn't, physically accosted or anything like that. But I was, it was. I saw how I was treated in a suit. I don't want to know what I would be treated like in
Right.
sweatpants.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind as you're driving. It's okay for you to have a nice car. It's your right. It's nothing wrong with that. Know your rights. Don't let them search your car unless it's a lot of things. Just know, and like Rachel said, be informed about your rights. Be informed about what you need to do. But
Try
I
to
just want to encourage
neutralize.
you.
That's good, and take away the excuses for
Right.
them to dehumanize,
Yeah,
disrespect you. Thank you all again for
You're
joining me.
welcome. Thank you for
Stephen
the
headed
opportunity.
out to his
thank you for
book.
having me.
No, I appreciate you all. I knew this was going to be the right mix. As you know, Gary, we're from South Louisiana, so we know what needs to go in the gumbo.
Gumbo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm so
Good one,
glad you all
good one.
joined. This was the overtime for those coming in. Stephen had to go off. Rachel's got to go. Gary's got to go. I've got to go. But we had to come here so that you could go and keep moving
Right.
forward and not have the life strangled out of you by the hopelessness that seems to be around us. Whatever you do, enjoy being who you are, whatever that is.
Yes.
Black,
Yeah,
Latino, or Latinx, uh, Anglo, whatever you're not, enjoy being you. But along with
yeah,
that, enjoy others being different than you.
Yes.
That's what needs to,
yeah,
that's my word for today.
I like
Enjoy
that.
being
yeah.
you, but enjoy others being different than you. And that's how you'll get
Powerful.
everything you need to get out of life. Again, This is The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. It will be streamed with Dr. Ricky Allmon and Reverend StephenThurston. We had two guest co-hosts today who just came through in the most brilliant fashion. My sister, Miss Rachel Allmon, and my little brother, Mr. Gary Foster. I call him my brother's son. That's how that's what I made up for you, Gary. I've never shared that.
I like that.
You're my brother's son. He's like a little brother and a son at the same time. Both of these individuals are absolutely brilliant. They're geniuses in their own right, and they are making an impact on the culture and in the world. You see their Instagram handles underneath their names. Quickly, Rachel, give your website again.
Yes, www.c2m.llc.
All right. www.c2m.llc. And they can reach you at Manage C2M on Instagram, correct?
Mm-hmm. And C2M Consultants on Facebook and YouTube.
Excellent. And Gary, how can they reach you?
Best way to reach me is on Instagram at gafjun. That's GAFJUN. I got some stuff coming out soon, so just follow that page, and that's the best way to reach you.
He's got some exciting stuff. I'm really excited about it.
You're right now.
And then Stephen has a new ebook that's come out. During these 9 to 10 weeks, we've almost been absorbed into this digital space, right? Which is a positive thing, but also it can have some not so positive, right, side effects, because it can distract you, and you're trying to keep up with whatever the latest news is and all of that. And he wrote a book called Unplugged. It's an ebook. Mm-hmm. It'll come out tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow. Go to StephenThurston.com, StephenThurston.com. And by the way, if you're not connected to the Facebook group for The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, it will be streamed. Join now. The link is in the caption right beneath this live. Go and join now. Answer the 3 questions. They're multiple choice. It's not hard to do. Answer those questions and join the group so you can stay connected with us, because we've got some other things coming. Of course, I'm Dr. Ricky Allmon. You can connect with me on all platforms at Ricky Allmon, and then go to RickyAllmon.org. Also, if you want to write a review for my recently released audiobook of the Life Lessons book, we just had a new audiobook release that's on Audible, it's on Amazon, it's on iTunes. If you want to review that and you want to get a free download of the book, email me at info at RickyAllmon.org. Don't try to hit me in the DMs and say, I need the link. No, you got to email me. Follow instructions. info at RickyAllmon.org. Just tell me you want to review the book. I'm going to send you a download code. I'll send you a download code, and you can go and download the audiobook. It's being narrated in my voice. I promise you this book will inspire your life. And so go and do that. What'd you say?
It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Is. I second that.
I didn't pay them for that at all.
Nope.
No, but go and do that. Enjoy your Saturday. Have a great day, and enjoy your life. Enjoy being you. Thank you for joining us. I love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.